maybe only be 15 years old, 15 and a half years old. But I've had my fair shares of wins and losses. Mostly losses. But there's this one story about myself that really stood out, and it was about forensics. Now, forensics is something that both my dad, David, my grandparents, and my great-grandmother took part of. So I decided to carry on the family tradition. And forensics is something I'm very passionate about, I love and care about so much. And I was very involved in forensics this last year. I did many events. If you know anything about it, it is put into two portions, acting and speaking. I'm an actress, if you can't tell from the tone of my voice. Now, most people will do like one event or two events or like 3 events if they're really feeling out there. I'm an overachieving freshman, or I was. I decided to do 5 events. 6 events. One time. And so I did prose, poetry, impromptu, humorous interpretation, duo acting, and one time I did improvised duet acting, just for shits and giggles. Anyways, my first meet I only did 3 because, gosh, I was just really feeling down that day. So I did prose, duo, and impromptu. And on the day of that very first meet, my dad took me in his car to the place because I can't drive yet, 15 years old. And he took me. It's fine. I'm a winner, guys. So he took me in his car and he told me about his first forensics meet. And his very first forensics meet, he was very prepared, he was very ready, he tried really hard, he practiced, and he got a 4th place medal his first time out. I wanted any medal. I was really not having high expectations for myself. So when I walked in the door of that school that day, I was very scared. Terrified, actually. It was kind of fear where your knees start shaking and your heart pounds and where you're very, very sweaty. Like really sweaty. And so I had to pull my coach out to the hallway for reassurance. He said, "Abby, at least you won't be the worst one in the room." It was very reassuring. And so I get nervous really easily. I really hope you can't tell. But I usually recover. And I remember the first room I walked into to perform, I was blown away by just the energy that was in the room. I tried my hardest my very first time out. I pronounced every word correctly. I enunciated. I used my words correctly, I think. And I did this for 3 rounds. For 3 different rounds, I improved every time. Now, my school's motto in forensics is win or else. So I had at least some high expectations in one ring of the corner. In one corner of the ring. I'm a winner. So every time I would walk out of a round, I would take a really, really big breath out. At least that round was over. After 3 rounds, I was finally done. And after all 3 rounds were done, the lists were posted. The dreaded lists. Now these lists were dreaded because if you didn't see your name and code on them, you weren't going on to the next round. And so I looked at the first list, impromptu. I was not on it. I was disappointed to say the least, almost crushed. But then they posted duo. I scanned it. My name was on it. Oh my God. Then they posted prose, and I just scanned it, casually. I was also on that one. Now, I'd never even heard of anyone who double broke. I didn't even know that was a thing. So I ran over to my coach. I ran, guys. I ran. And I said, "Sir, I double broke." He said, "Really? Double broke? You're a freshman." And I was like, "Yes, sir." He said, "You have to go back to each room, write double broke on the floor, on the board, and then go to duo first, because that's where you have a partner." So I went to duo first. I did my best that I could, and I forgot about half of it. But I still did well, I think, maybe. You'll see later. And then I went into prose, and I was excited about prose because I knew I had something there. Something. So I walked in, and I did my very best. And then afterward, I took my deep breath out. Afterwards was the awards ceremony. Now, my class is very somber, and they didn't usually clap, even when one of our own wins. So, as soon as they started calling names for duo, I stood very nervously. 6th place, Sam Smith. Another crowd erupted, because one of theirs has gotten 6th place. Yay! Then 5th place, Nancy Pickett, and there was a long pause. Finally, 4th place, Abby Ray. I was astonished. I had gotten 4th place, just like my father had his first time out. This one, 4th place. Pretty cool. And then pros was announced. They called 6th place, 5th place, 4th place. Why had they not called my name? I was so confused, so puzzled. Why had they not called my name? 3rd place. Then they called 2nd place. If you can't guess, this one was me. I got 2nd place, guys. And for those of you who don't know, that means I state qualified my first time out as a freshman. So that's pretty impressive, guys. Come on. Little did I know that would not be my first state qualification for pros. Now, my team smiled and waved at me. I was one of the only 2 that actually state qualified that first time out. Me and a senior. Now, if I would have known what I'm about to tell you right now, I don't know if I would have tried so hard in forensics the rest of the year. I worked so hard the rest of the season, so incredibly hard. I stayed after school for countless hours. I did numerous things after school just to try to get better. I performed in front of many, many people that had also been in forensics. I triple state qualified in pros, which is pretty impressive for a freshman as well. Now, I thought for sure I was going to go to state, because that's what you do when you triple state qualify in something. But because that was the ultimate win, that's what all I wanted the entire season. But someone else got first place at some random meet, and because it was a smaller event, they got to go to state instead. I was a little bit sad, honestly. But that's how I've learned that sometimes winning isn't even good enough. Sometimes when you try your hardest, winning doesn't always cut it. Sometimes even winning 3 times isn't enough to win the big one. So that's why I say to you, you don't always have to win to learn. I learned more this past year doing forensics than I have in any other class I've ever done. And I plan to continue doing forensics for those of you who are actually curious. I also already have a DI picked out, so I'm going to be doing 7 events. Woo! Wish me luck, guys. But this is when I say winning isn't always the answer, and winning isn't always enough. Not always.